Then the door to Giselle opened, and to my shock, Natalia went in. And Giselle didn't even seem surprised at all. "What are you doing? It's been so boring. You have to turn up the charm. I need this evidence." "But he's being too much of a gentleman." "Well, I dunno. Drop a fork or something. I paid you good money, and if I can't get photographic evidence of him in the worst possible moment, I can't pressure his stupid parents to sell this worthless spa to my bosses." Maybe it's for the best. I hear the people in town are against the new mall they want to build." "Shut your high school dropout mouth and stick to the one thing I hired you for." I tapped on the two-way mirror, and Natalia knew her game was up. I had everything on video, and with a single word, she brought me to her corporate overlords. And they very much wanted to keep it quiet. They paid out $5 million just to keep my mouth shut. If word ever got out that they used some covert ops tactics just to get us to sell, the entire town would go against them and they'd be done. Natalia was fired, of course. But I posted the entire thing on PicPoc anyway, and it blew up. The entire town hosted a rally against the corporation, and under the intense pressure, our mayor had no other choice but to drive them out of town. I became our town's hero. My parents let me run the spa, and people started calling me the Spa King. Lots of girls started flirting with me on the streets. Most of them just wanted free spa packages, but hey, I still like the attention. That was when I saw Cass again. I was just coming home from a long shift, and she caught me getting into my car. She followed me all the way home. "Can we just talk? Just talk to me. You know, we're meant to be together." "Did you mean you and my wallet are meant to be together?" "Are you really gonna say no to me? To me? I'm Cassie Owens, Homecoming Queen 2018. And Unemployed Opportunist 2023. Come on. You're never gonna find another girl like me." "Oh, yeah? You can have these. See if any of these girls who wrote those love letters aren't exactly like you." I opened the door to my house, just wanting to get some rest, but Cass was following me. But then there was someone on my bed. Cassie said it before I could even open my mouth. "Who are you?" That's Vivian Chen from the hit show Super Rangers. I've had posters of her since I was 11. Cass ran out of there sobbing. "Vivian Chen, what are you doing here?" "I made you dinner." I can see that. My favorite, spring rolls. "Now, why don't you come over here?" "I want to." Thunder clapped and lightning flashed, and a knock came on the door. I opened it, and soaking wet and crying was Hannah. I was so glad Vivian couldn't see her from where she was sitting. "Please, the thunder. I can't drive home." "Who is that? Come back here, lover boy." No one, just some Jehovah's Witness." Vivian was kinda creeping me out, and Hannah gave me the perfect excuse to get out of there. I gotta go get some milk." I drove Hannah home, and once there, she begged me to hold her. We snuggled up in her couch, and I put a blanket around her. She buried her head in my chest again, and as I stared out into the rain outside her window, we both fell asleep. It must have been well past midnight when I woke up with a start. Hannah was gently snoring, purring like a cat. I didn't want to wake her, so I tiptoed to her door and slowly made to open it. But it didn't budge. I was locked in, and it only opened with a key, and I couldn't find it. So I had no choice but to sleep there. When I woke up, I had to fight the urge to get jump scared. Hannah's face was 2 inches from mine, and she was smiling. "You look so peaceful, so beautiful." I almost kissed her. But then her door flew open, and it was Vivian. She kicked the door off its hinges. She was like a real-life Super Ranger. I didn't know whether to get excited or scared. "You're coming with me. I am Vivian Chen, you hear me? Nobody makes me wait." Turns out Vivian had my car bugged. She knew exactly where I was. "From now on, you will be my babysitter." Babysitter? But you're like 29. Vivian smacked me on the side of my head. Never mention a lady's age. And besides, I'll trash your business if you don't do what I say. I think you're bluffing. Okay. Vivian typed one sentence on her phone, and my phone began to blow up. 1-star ratings, hundreds of them, then thousands. Our app began getting tons of cancellations, and then in the span of 5 minutes, we had 0 reservations. I had no choice but to take the job. It was my only way to keep the business afloat, and she was paying me millions. She made me be her arm candy, but she soon regretted that. Wherever people went, people recognized me and not her. People wanted to take photos of me, and for every guy who had a crush on her and tried to flirt with her, there were 5 girls who would run through the streets just to ask for my number. At the mall, the park, the restaurants we went to, there were women of all ages giving me hard eyes, and Vivian was over it. Drink it all in. It won't last. And I'm not paying you to get other girls' attention. You are my property. Wear this over your head. You're too handsome and famous now. And that's how I ended up wearing a paper bag over my head wherever we went. One day, while I was tuckered out from one of Vivian's shopping sprees, some girl in a long, flowy dress and a flower crown came into my room. I could barely get up. Who are you? Shh. Don't worry yourself with trivial things like names. I am the one. I am many. Now look at this pendant. It's beautiful, isn't it? Mesmerizing. She started swinging it left and right, and I began to feel dizzy. I felt like the bed had become a cloud and I was falling down into a bottomless pit until suddenly it all went black. I remember hearing bells and the flap of wings. I smelled a lot of different flowers. And then I felt the nice plush bed of a 5-star hotel under me. And then I woke up. It was midday and I could hear thousands of cars down below. There was a wall where it was all windows and I was unmistakably in the city's most expensive hotel. And beside me was Vivian. I felt the weight of the ring on my finger and it immediately dawned on me what had happened. We were married. Vivian turned over to face me, and her first words weren't the words of someone who was in love. Get me breakfast, now. They were the words of someone who treated me as her property. Vivian demanded the world now that we were married. All she wanted was for me to serve her and give her all the things she didn't want to spend her own money on. She made me buy her huge gold bracelets and necklaces with diamonds as big as blueberries, all to make sure I would spend every cent of the money she paid me and I'd stay dependent on her. But nevertheless, I tried to make our relationship work. For better or worse, my parents had always taught me that marriage was special and that people should put in the effort to make them work. And so, even though I could barely recall marrying her, I played the role of her husband as best as I could. Until one day, she dragged me to a luxury dealership and demanded I buy her a Bugatti. I had $1,000 in my bank account. The spa was starting to crumble and there was so much pressure from everywhere. I finally broke. You have your own money. Buy it yourself. Vivian started crying, and it turned out she had spent all her money on paying me, and I'd spent all that money buying her whatever she wanted. Then it's your fault, isn't it? If you didn't make my business go under, I could have given you the world, but you're dumb. Now, if you want that car so badly, work for it yourself, because I'm not getting you anything. I sent her to work at my parents' farm, and she wanted the Bugatti so bad, she became my parents' milkmaid. I was just glad to get her out of my hair so I could at least try and save the spa while she was gone. The only other person I could ask for help was Hannah. She helped me figure things out, and luckily she immediately recognized the venue where we got married. When I showed her the photo, she pointed to her vision board. I've always dreamed of getting married there since I was a kid. We rushed to the venue and Hannah paid off the security guy. We got the CCTV footage and brought it to the authorities. I filed a lawsuit and the judge ruled in my favor, just like that. I was obviously not in the right state of mind, and I was coerced. So the law was more than happy to invalidate our marriage. I texted Vivian to meet me at the venue. I told her I had a huge surprise waiting for her. Ooh, did you get me the car? Did you get me the car? Tell me you got me the car. It's a surprise, so you'll just have to come and see. Make sure you dress up. Thinking that her dream car was finally hers, Vivian rushed from the farm in her best dress. She put on all her finest jewelry, too, and when she flung open the venue's doors, a ceremony was well underway. Every head in that chapel turned towards her as she witnessed me saying my vows to Hannah. What in the actual living hell is happening here? Surprise. By the power vested in me by the great state of Louisiana, I now pronounce you married. You may now kiss the bride. No! Stop this wedding! I think you're a bit too late for that part, sweetheart. Now, why don't you mosey on along back to the farm? I'm sure you've got a bunch of cows to milk still. Everyone laughed at her, and then the doves were released and the bells began to ring. And I kissed my new wife as my old one was taken away by one of the farmhands that worked for Mom and Dad. He was as country as you can get, and he was missing a few teeth. Come on now, sweetheart. We got some milking to do. Say, now that you're single, I bet we'd make a great farming couple. No, I can't be a farmer's wife.